Your first question is from Tim Healy.
Hey Trevor,
Hey, Tim.
it's been a couple months since we talked to you when you signed. What have the first few days been like? Adjusting to a new team and all.
Well, it's just about impossible to remember everyone's name, especially when they have a mask on. That's been an interesting journey, and I'm already not great at it anyway. So I'm focusing really hard on that. I've even had to pull up the staff sheet a couple times and make sure I'm quizzing myself. But on the field activities, everything. Honestly, it's very similar to what I've been doing. Was doing in Minnesota too. Very, very. Go get your work done. A lot of freedom to kind of get in the training room, get in the weight room, and the facilities are amazing down here, so it's been really great. And fortunately, it hasn't been 1,000 degrees yet, so we're getting the work in and not too crazy hot after you're done too. So it's been good.
Sure. And coming off a stop and start year last year for everybody. What's different about this past offseason or even, ramping back up again right now?
Yeah, it feels a little odd. It's in my mind, hasn't really kind of clicked that there's like 7 months ahead of us, right? That's a little odd. That's something that I wasn't really expecting to notice right away. But kind of in terms of like throwing and how I'm feeling, it feels like a normal season, ramping up. I don't think that not having the biggest throwing load last year, I don't think it's really gonna affect me too much. And I think that honestly, if you're trying to silver linings it a little bit for getting 4 months off for the whole league, at least from a rest standpoint, just like working through stuff and just feeling fresh. So a lot of guys are going to feel pretty dang fresh, especially guys who didn't get to play as much last year, who are kind of on the bubble, or young guys, rookies. They're going to get to play a whole season. They got a lot of rest, and they got to kind of save a year of their body taking some punishment. So if you think about it that way, I think there's going to be a lot of guys feeling really good coming into the spring and feeling really strong going into the season, which is really exciting because we got a lot of those young guys. So I hope that's the way it goes for a lot of guys.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Next question is from Ed Coleman.
Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Ed.
Well, Tim stole my question, but I'll reword it another way. If you come in a little bit differently from this off season, and you think about what you need to get ready for a season, how does that affect you? Do you need more appearances? Do you need some less appearances during spring training? How does that work?
I'm very much approaching it from a kind of a day by day basis at the moment. Historically, I've about 6-7 outings into the spring training. I'm like, I'm good. I'm going on in the backfield to throw like changeups only or something, just to work on a pitch at that point. And I anticipate that being about right. Even with a little bit of a less games, still the same amount of days to get ready, but a little bit of less games. I'm anticipating not throwing in as many games as I maybe have in the past, but that's okay for me. It's all about just getting off the mound and make sure that my throwing workload is there. And even if we're not playing a game that day or we're just doing an inter squad, I can still get that work done. But the competitiveness, man, no matter what you do in spring, no matter how like into it you're trying to be, when opening day hits, it's up to 10, notch 10, and that's going to happen regardless. But I'm feeling good right now. I'm feeling really, really good. Feeling like I'm in a good spot. Got a lot of rest this off season. Got in as good of shape as I've been in a long time. The arm's feeling strong and healthy. So it hasn't always been that way in my career. So I'm just taking it one day at a time at that point, and just trying to be ready for day one.
Well, that's good to hear. I got a football question for you.
Okay.
Fan-controlled football.
Hit me.
The Zappers. All
Yep.
right, so how did it go the first week? Did it meet expectations for you?
It exceeded them. I'm a little bit more so than maybe other guys in the locker room, a little bit more of a passive football watcher, going hanging out with friends and maybe not, I didn't play football even really in high school. So it's not, basketball's more of my sport. So, but this caught my attention. I mean, even from the WWE style entrance music and the excitement built around that, but just the action of the football itself, lots of one-on-ones, lots of athletes being athletes, lots of quarterbacks scrambling, lots of running backs like getting one-on-one tackle drills. It's all that stuff you did when you did play football, the Omaha drill. It's a lot of one-on-one guys showing that they are better than the guy across from them. And that's the most exciting football to watch. Everyone's waiting for third down to see, the one-on-ones between the Metcalfs and the Petersons and stuff like that. And that's what it is 24/7 in this league. And that is really fun. And then you add in the whole fans get to control the plays and call them like it's Madden, which happens to be Hail Mary every play right now. But we're hoping that the savvy will pick up. They'll start to get the flow of the game after we get a few games under our belt, and there'll be some more run calls and actually trying to score. But that's a super cool thing, and you get to see all the ways the fans are absorbing and watching and how they're enjoying being part of the play, but also they're starting to think like a coach, and that's something that's never been done before. So it's been extremely exciting to watch. We didn't win, but we got another game tonight, a big one against the Glacier boys. I believe that is Quavo and Sherman's team, and we can't be 0-2. We got to take some momentum going into next week.
Finally, what'd you think of Johnny Football?
John, first play was like a 42-yard scramble. And not only that, and no offense to Johnny, but he is the old man in this league. He is about 6 years older than every single other player, so that was impressive. And he's out there showing what makes him Johnny Football, and he's having a good time. He's smiling, and he's starting to open up a little bit and like play around with the fan cam and with the ownership box and have a good time with it, because you just go out and you just get to play, and it's fun to watch. I think he's having a good time.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep.
Rich Catino, you're next.
Hey there. You're joining a bullpen that has a lot of pieces in it that not only have talent but have closed. Have you been given any kind of mindset from Louis on what your role is going to be in the bullpen, and how excited are you to be in a bullpen that has this much talent in it?
I mean, it's an honor to be included with these guys. A lot of guys who are either all-stars in the past or are going to be all-stars very soon. If we're just talking sheer size, it's the biggest group of guys I've ever seen. But a lot of talent out there. And in terms of role, I've been very, very fluid in my mindset there. I feel like in this day and age, it's really important to widen the situations that you think you might be in. I know that that's a way that I'm used. I know that strikeouts are a big part of my my job. I'm usually called upon to go out and go get a guy without moving anyone on any bases. And I know that situation might come earlier in games. I know that situation might be later in games. I know some guys need rest. I know that Hef is a big proponent of getting guys rest as much as possible and making sure that everyone is as fresh as possible day to day. And so that means some guys they're not quote unquote out, but they're probably not going to pitch in their normal role, and that would slot me in there. And I know that that's probably going to be an element of it. I would not be surprised if we got some opportunities in the ninth this year. I would not be surprised if we got some opportunities in the fifth. And that's what I'm sticking with. And then as camp goes through and as we get into the season, it becomes pretty clear specifically what you're trying to do. Last year it was if 2, 3, and 4 are coming up, third time through the lineup, there's a really good chance it's going to be you, Trevor. It's me and Tyler Clippard ex-Met. We knew that. We talked to each other, and we knew how we matched up against teams. And a lot of times we guessed right who it was going to be. So you figure that out as it goes. But that's what I'm anticipating doing. But at the end of the day, I'm one of those guys that just looks you in the eyes and says, give me the ball. Let's get the job done. So if that manifests itself in a little bit different way than I'm thinking now, I'll adjust. That's how it works.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Tim Healy.
Trevor, how would you describe the difference in the levels of confidence when you first come up to the majors and you believe in yourself because you're in the show and you're really good, versus when you first start to have success and you're able to tell yourself, oh, I really do belong here? What is that? Is that just confidence at a different level?
Yes. That was a big hurdle for me. I struggled mightily right out the gate. And I fortunately was at a time where, the team was in a little bit of a rebuild, and I was given opportunities. They just kept running me out there my rookie year, and I was bad. Like, it was hard to watch. It's hard for me to go back and watch it, but I was at least, in the moment enough to know what kind of opportunity I had and knowing what adjustments I needed to make in here in order to stay, because the stuff was there. The stuff has always been there. Nothing changed there. It was just how I attack guys and how I got out of what I was trying to do and how quickly I did it based on who was in the box. And then once you get past that and you kind of like say, I'm here, and you remember those times where you were against a guy that you've watched come up big, all the way, you were coming up through the minors watching this guy like Miggy Cabrera's of the world, and you get him out in that spot, the elation and the relief there, like, this is my job and I can do it, is quick in coming, and then you just build. You build, and you just try to build a mindset that you can take out every single day, and know that something you can recall and say, hey, I got that guy out, and I know what I want to do here, so just do it. And at that point, there's nothing else to do. Keeping it as simple as possible. I know that sounds really easy. It's much easier said than done, but yeah, there's a point in every guy's career, I think, where they either make that jump, and they're given that opportunity, or they don't. And I was fortunate that I identified it early that I needed to make the jump, and I only going to have so much time to make it. And I was in the right place at the right time and was able to stick around and get more opportunities.
And in these first few days, what's it been like working with Hefner again?
It's been great. We faked hugged from a distance right at the gate, but yeah, we've already had conversations. I just was out there throwing the pen, and I hit him with I like to sim some hitters at the end of my pens, especially in spring, and obviously I'm picking like the big guys from our division out the gate, because they're guys I haven't faced much. So I just turned and said, all right, Freddie Freeman, scouting report, go. And he hit me with how you would pitch Freddie Freeman, and I went out there and tried to simulate the at-bat and what I know. I faced him a couple times, but what I know about the type of hitter he is and how he can extend at bats and all this stuff, and tried to imagine like what he would be fouling off, what he would just lay off, what he would maybe go for, maybe not, and try to obviously I came out on top at the end, because you got to have some confidence. But that was the kind of relationship we have. Like, if I hadn't known Hef beforehand, probably not something I would have done day one. But yeah, it was a good exercise, and that's just kind of a testament to the relationship we had already.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Trevor, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.